All right, Lindsay, how's the hair? Great. There was no way I was going to talk with this thing dangling in my face. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Nana. It kind of wasn't fair because I'm just a mess already. We are sitting here today in costumes. I mean, look at us. We're wearing the modern equivalent of medieval robes of the academy. We're holding props, the diplomas, the programs. We've staged the lights. We blocked the procession. Quite literally, we had a rehearsal. And we have seated the audience. By every definition available to the outside world, this is a performance. And because the world generally misunderstands what we do, they will assume that because this is a performance, it is somehow fake. To the layperson, an MFA in theater is a degree in pretending. It signifies we are experts in fabrication, in make-believe, in putting on masks. But looking at you, my colleagues, my collaborators, my friends, I know that this is the exact opposite of the truth. We aren't here because we need to learn how to put masks on. We are here because we want to do the terrifying work of taking them off. We haven't learned to lie. We have spent hours upon hours in rehearsal rooms trying to unlearn the social lies that our polite, colonialist, patriarchal society depends on. We have studied the mechanics of human behavior not to fake it, but to find moments of honesty. This program graduates experts in truth. And that is dangerous because we are graduating into a world addicted to a lie. Look at the current state of leadership in our country and in our corporations, in our institutions. President Sue accepted. I mean that, by the way. We are witnessing a crisis of leadership. But to our eyes trained in the analysis of action and objective, it's not just a crisis of policy. It's a crisis of performance. Most of the people currently holding the reins of power are bad actors. I mean that literally. They are bad at acting. They are indicating. They are showing us the result, strength, certainty, authority, without doing the work to earn it. They are playing a role, and they are playing it poorly. They think leader is a character type, like the hero or the villain, both roles they have cast others in. They think leadership is about standing center stage, hoarding the light, and making sure no one sees you sweat. They treat leadership like a suit of armor. They refuse to listen because to listen is to admit you might be changed by what you hear. Something we know well. Their armor doesn't allow for change. They view admission of failure as weakness. They view empathy as a liability. I think that they are terrified that if they stop performing the leader for even a second, we might see that they are just as small and human as us. But we know better. In the theater, we know that the armor is the least interesting thing about a character. We don't watch Hamlet for his sword skills. We watch him for his doubt. We don't watch Blanche Dubois for her dresses. We watch her for her desperation. We know that the truth doesn't live in the perfection of the image. It lives in the crack. It lives in the chink in the armor. As actors, designers, as directors, actors, designers, and writers, we spend our lives hunting for those gaps in the armor. Not to exploit it for gain or to rewrite the character, but because that opening, that vulnerability is the only place where connection can truly happen. Fresh air cannot get into a sealed room, and trust cannot connect with a sealed human heart. We know that the most powerful thing a person can do on stage is not to shout or to conquer. The most powerful thing a person can do is stand still, drop their guard, and tell the truth. This is the secret weapon we carry. We have trained our nervous system to tolerate the discomfort of being truly seen. We have trained our ears to hear what isn't being said. We have learned that true status isn't about being above someone, it is about being with them. So what does this mean for us tomorrow and the rest of you here at Randolph when it is your turn to walk across this stage? When the costumes come off and the quote-unquote real world begins. It means we have to redefine the assignment. Society tells us that leadership is a noun. It's a title you earn, a chair you sit in, a salary bracket you achieve. They tell you to wait until you are cast as the leader. This is a lie. Leadership is not a noun. Leadership is a behavior. It is expressed by the actions we choose to take in each and every moment. It is the decision to facilitate the brilliance of the person next to us rather than needing to be the smartest person in the room. It is the decision to advocate for the voiceless, not just the character in the script who has no lines, but the person in your community who has no agency. It is the decision to apply what I call reckless kindness, that terrifying active choice to treat people with regard, even when, and perhaps especially when, the system encourages you to treat them as commodities. We do not need permission to do this. We don't need a grant. We don't need an artistic director title. When we are in a meeting and the lies are thick and the egos are fragile, we have the tools to change the temperature of the room. We can choose to stop acting. We can choose to drop the armor. We can say, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Let's figure it out together. We can say, I think we're telling the wrong story here. That is leadership. It is the refusal to participate in the collective lie. Yesterday, the final 6 of us presented our theses, joining Masons from this summer. And while each of us approached this in such different ways, the theme that stood out to me was agency. The agency to create our own opportunities, to empower others, and to tell stories that might otherwise be overlooked. This is a program full of fighters. Each of us has been hurt or limited by this art form we love so dearly, but we are still here. We will be the change we want to see, and we have found a place that wants just as badly to prepare us for that work. Because we are storytellers. We know that stories are not just entertainment, they're the operating system of human consciousness. Narratives dictate who we hate, who we love, who we bomb, and who we save. Right now, the story of our world is being written by people who want us to believe that we are enemies, that scarcity is real, that kindness is weakness, that the only way to survive is to build higher walls and thicker armor. This is a bad script. It's derivative, it's boring, and it's destructive. We are the ones who know how to analyze the text, identify the structural weaknesses, and rewrite the scene. We have to tell a different story. A story that says strength is found in community. A story that says vulnerability is the prerequisite for courage. A story that is complex and nuanced and difficult and true. So don't let the world convince you to be satisfied with the lie. It will be easier and less scary to put on the armor. We will be tempted to indicate success by agreeing with those in power rather than doing the hard work of being truthful. We will be tempted to treat people as props in our own narrative. Resist. I implore you, resist. Remember the rehearsal room. Remember that the frustration of working to find the truth in the moment is sacred. Remember that the magic didn't happen when we were perfect. It happened when we were present with each other. Advocate for the truth and lead with your chest open, not covered in steel. The world is dark, and it's getting darker. But in the theater, we know what to do with the dark. We don't fear it. We use it to focus the light. And we leave the ghost light center stage so that the next person who comes in doesn't break their neck. So what do we do from here? Once we hang up these costumes and rejoin the world, we must be ghost lights for our communities by doing what we do best, standing in the dark, focusing the light, and telling the truth. Thank you.